do feel like I'm getting closer and closer to starting to do some of these things. I have really felt I kind of feel guilty and bad that I'm not doing anything like that right now.
No, 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 no.
Uh, but I have really stopped myself from that because I
Good,
feel
good,
like
good.
the time I'm spending right now doing what I am doing right now
Perfect.
uh, is the most important thing. And I I will be ready to do whatever the next thing is. And I will know when it's the right time. But right
Yes,
now, just kind of focusing on
exactly.
what I'm doing
Exactly.
right now is the most
Yes,
important thing. But you're
yes.
right. You're 100% right. And I have thought about that. I just haven't implemented it yet. But I think the time is coming
Coming.
for that.
Yes.
So,
And you are doing
oh
a
no,
lot of,
no, I know. No,
yeah,
I know you didn't. I know
lot of
you
things. So it's a
didn't. And it is a great idea. It's really
great
important.
idea. And I was like, wow, it will be so fun and it will be so, so amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy your stories and I'm
Yay. It will be fun. I mean, I have thought about things that I really like to do. And it's funny because walking is something I have liked to do since I was a little kid. So that is part of it. Taking pictures is something I have liked to do since I was probably in high school.
wow.
Um, yes, they did have cameras back when I was in high school.
Come on.
Not the same as we have now, but we did have cameras back then.
Yeah, I
It,
mean, when you took a photograph, you had that kind of little smoke thing that came up, and it made that big flash, and
Right, and you
you had
put
those
that thing over your
bellows.
head, and
You put the thing. That's right.
yeah, all black and white. We didn't have color
so
back then.
by doing this, you guys are making me feel more outcasted today because today I just got a shut up too young to say anything. So
Well, you know
uh,
that I'm exaggerating, and it's not true. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not the way cameras were when I was young.
trust,
No.
Um, but
I
that traveling, walking, photographs, and learning about new places and interesting things has always been something I have been interested in. And then, books and reading. And as I got older, I suppose when Erica was little was probably the first time I really did that very often, but reading to kids. Uh,
Mm.
it was funny. I was thinking about this morning, how I had so much fun when Erica was
Oh, good.
little.
Oh, good,
Um,
good, good,
I
good.
just had so much fun and I loved it so much. And that's why I became a teacher. I mean, a
Yeah.
classroom teacher, because
Yes, yes, yes.
and I didn't know. I mean, I was 32 when Erica was born. And, I really hadn't, I mean, I had been babysitting and stuff, but I hadn't, you know, and I don't have nieces or nephews or cousins
Yeah,
or,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I didn't really know. And once I
Yeah,
became a mom,
on the job training, right?
it's on the job training. But reading to kids is something I think I'm good at and that I really love to do.
Excellent,
So I
excellent.
feel like incorporating that somehow is going to be something I really want to do. So,
Fantastic, fantastic. So, I have a story for you
okay.
to read. Yeah,
Oh,
when you
okay.
start reading, I have a story for you. Yeah,
I
Hedgie,
love your story
undercover
about
detective.
what was your story that you read about the little animals and the box?
yes,
Yeah,
Hedgie.
yeah, yeah. It was Hedgie and the cats.
I love that story. That is such a
Yeah,
great story.
yeah, yeah. Hedgie the hedgehog, and he went to Cape Town to try and figure out why the cats jump in the boxes or why they sit in the
Right,
boxes. So yeah,
right,
the big
right.
mystery, the big mystery.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
I might need
I
to read.
next he goes to yeah, yeah. So the next one obviously would you think would be well, cats next would be dogs. And what is the big mystery with dogs?
Mm. Uh, you know
Well,
what?
if
I
you
just
ask
got through.
any ask any little kid and they'll tell you right away. What ask a kid what's unusual with dogs? Like what's curious about well, what are you trying to understand when it comes to dogs? What do they do that's kind of mysterious, or that you don't understand why.
What do you think it is?
Or the butt sniffing.
Oh, oh, that's true. That is true. Yeah.
I have a story for that, but I don't know how much
You
I
know
can
what that
share
is?
it with kids.
That is kind of dog social media.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's dog social media. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
I heard a fun story about that when I was a kid. And the story goes that, so back in the day, in the time before, there was the annual ball every year. All the dogs went to the annual ball, and this was a big thing. This was just huge, right? So
Yes.
you went, and everybody was all fun and dressed up, and it was all posh and good. But dogs, every now and then there'd be fights at the thing. So, so the organizer says, "Well, dogs, sorry, the guys, you've got to check your junk in at the door, right? With your coats and everything." So, because to reduce the testosterone level. Okay, it makes all sense. So, and this worked great, and years went by, and it was all great, and everything was fun, except one year there was this great big fire. So of course, fire, and everybody rushes out, and in the rush running out, everybody just grabbed on the way out. Whatever came, you just grabbed and ran. So of course, you didn't necessarily get your own, you see, and that's why they go around sniffing each other, because they want to find their own.
You're
You see,
looking
they're
for
trying
their
to
own.
identify.
Oh,
Exactly.
that's a very imaginative. That's a profound.
I don't know how. I mean, I heard it when I was a little kid and it was fine. So okay, I don't know how parents would feel about a story like that.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
You see my point. But of course, when
I'm
you're a little kid, especially a boy, and somebody
sure.
tells you this, you think it's the greatest story.
I'm sure.
Any naughty story,
No doubt.
any naughty story is great stuff for kids.
Especially a story that has to do with a bodily part or a bodily function, because those
Oh,
are
exactly,
very important for little boys.
exactly. So maybe I can adjust it somewhere, that make the same type of a story, that they hid it because there was some oppression or something, and they hid it. Or I don't know, something to do with the butt. I don't know, some or smell something. Yeah.
Well, yesterday, I don't know why I got very curious about why, because Sarah often lays down on her back, puts her feet up, and wants a belly rub. And so I was like, I wonder, why do dogs do that? I mean, what is that all about? And so I just Googled, why do dogs like a belly rub? And
Wow.
I still have a lot of little kid in me, I still
Oh,
have,
I love it. Me too. Me too. Too much sometimes, but so good.
yeah, really, no kidding. But it said, partly it just, it feels good. But they like to be petted, and
Yeah,
all of
I'd
that,
imagine. Yeah,
because it's for them, it's like the whole social grooming thing, where they, that animals do that to each other. They groom each other, and that's part of their social bond. And so I thought, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And it also talked about
I mean, and it's not. Yeah.
It also talked
Oh, go ahead.
about how any animal's natural protective tendency. You have a tendency to protect your underside, because that's your most vulnerable place. And so if they are showing you the belly, they're telling you that they trust you. And
correct. It's a bonding experience, right?
So that was kind of funny. But
yeah.
Anyway. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys some more about what do you want. It's so cool to me how all of the pieces go together. I don't know. I can't stop thinking about it right now. I mean, it just keeps going around in my head. But, what another idea, and I really liked all the things that we talked about the other day. They were very helpful.
Oh, it was fantastic. There was so much magic. It was like magic on top of magic.
It was.
Really cool.
I know. It's great. But it kind of occurred to me as I was thinking more about it, that maybe that question wasn't.
Sorry, let me just get this out of the way here.
Okay.
It's noisy. Sorry,
gonna
I should have
fix that
muted,
so
but
it doesn't-
too far away. It's a big bag of cheese. A really, really big bag of cheese, right, Beena?
Okay. Dang it. Okay, hang on. I'm still trying to do this. There we go. While you're doing that, I will do this.
No, I'm making noise here. Binaural noise makers. I have a story for you about a binaural noise maker.
Okay, I had to put some food away because I was like eating my lunch really quick and I didn't get everything put away, and
Oh, no worries.
I put that away while you're doing that.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay, so what do you want? What if I thought to myself, I mean, I had been looking at it in terms of needing a specific answer. Yeah.
In
Is that
terms of what? Say again, sorry.
needing a specific answer.
Hmm.
You know, that I needed to answer that question. And that it had a specific answer.
Yes, or it might have, but that's the problem when the question is flawed.
Right. Okay,
Right.
but here's what I came up with. Maybe that question that comes to me so often, what do you want? What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it isn't always a really big life-altering question. It's not necessarily about the ultimate goal of my life or my purpose or, you know, something like that. Maybe it's just a reminder that I need to be aware of my intent in whatever I am doing. I mean, basically, your intent of goodness right now. And sometimes, despite what I see or feel, just being aware that goodness is present right now is really what I need to be doing. And so, I don't know. I mean, I am just thinking this through, but I was thinking about, you know, we've talked a lot about thinking ahead. And in order to do that, you have to know what is important and valuable to yourself.
No.
What do I ultimately, what do I value? What is important to me? And it's more of like an overview perspective. How are you doing?
I don't know. After there's your music. Is that my music playing?
Beena, is that your music?
Sorry, it was stories playing in the background, and I was not aware.
It's okay.
Is it? What was it? You, Beena? It could have been me.
No. I don't know, because just saw that what's going on here. I thought it you guys, and then I saw that it's a Facebook stories playing in the background.
Oh, how funny.
Wow. Because
Sorry.
I thought my music is suddenly playing on my headset. I'm like, hello? I don't have any music playing right now. Like, what's going on here?
Looking at you and Kay's picture, that okay, why you guys are acting like it is coming from this somewhere else, and then I said,
That's brilliant.
Whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. But it's a little bit like talking to Erica. Whenever I talk to Erica on the phone, she's always doing something else and usually fixing dinner, and all these bizarre noises come on, and it's really hard to concentrate, and it's, you know, it's hard to talk because I'm hearing, and it like she runs the water in the sink and it just sounds like, you know, an earthquake, and it's not. I mean, if you're in the room, it doesn't sound like that, but if you know you're hearing it over the phone, it's like this giant thing. So I'm having to get used to that, but anyway. Basically, the idea is thinking about what do I want? Maybe that's just a reminder. Maybe it's something I think about. In whatever it is I'm doing, think about what is my intent. And in order to do that, in order to really know what your intent is, you have to know what is valuable to you, what is important.
Yes.
So what do you want equals what is your intent? And that whole idea kind of brings together some of the ideas that we've been talking about being responsible and thinking ahead and being prepared, being in charge of my memory and my awareness, choice, overview, perspective, and zooming out and being strategic. What do you want? The question, what do you want, implies that I have a choice.
Yes. Yes.
And it reminds me that I have a choice and that I have what I need to make good choices. Maybe it's not necessary to answer that question in big overall terms, but to just see it as a reminder of the fact that I have choice and that the best choice in every instance is one that aligns with my intent. That's how I make a choice, is knowing what is valuable to me and making a choice that best aligns with what is valuable to me.
Yep.
This led me down a whole thing about the whole idea of clutter and, all those things that we were talking about the other day. Mental clutter, emotional clutter, physical clutter, all of those things. And, I loved Beena's idea about clutter being past choices that you are no longer, don't really line up with what
But you're still holding on to, yeah.
You're holding on to them, but they don't really serve you, or,
Nope.
they're not really appropriate at this point.
Right. They've come and gone.
So I said, clutter is that which no longer aligns with what is important to me or valuable to me. If my values have changed and something is no longer valuable to me, but it once was, I can change its form rather than completely discarding it. I mean, sometimes it's important to really discard, but sometimes it's important to change its form. And I liked how we talked, Beena, you said the other day, sometimes that it changes form, it changes into just a memory. It doesn't have to be a thing anymore. It can just be a memory. Or it might change form into like a piece of artwork or like a scrapbook or, something that is more appropriate for where you
Integrated. Get it integrated, in other words.
Right. I can change it into a memory or a waymark of my journey. I can take a photo or make it into a piece of art. I can keep it in a different form or in a different place as a reminder or a souvenir of my journey. I got into this whole thing about souvenirs.
Wow, cool.
So, I'm going to keep going here. I can choose which mementos to keep, not keep them all. Choose the ones that really represent the things I value and the steps of progress along the way. Valuing the journey. Choose things for like a treasure box or a display. I was thinking about a quilt. A quilt, a lot of times, is made up. I mean, now people use new fabric, but the quilts I have in my family are scraps from old garments. And the garment itself is no longer serving a purpose. I mean, maybe it has a hole in it, or maybe you've outgrown it.
Yes.
And you keep a piece of it and put all these pieces together, and it's a quilt. And so you take something that is no longer useful and make it into something that is useful and serves as a reminder of past joys. So I thought about the word souvenir, which is really an interesting word. I looked it up and it says is a thing that is kept as a reminder of a person, place, or thing. It comes from a Latin word and it means occur to the mind.
There you go.
Venir in French means to come, and souvenir means to come to mind.
Yes, yes.
A
So
mental-
this is like your memory notes, but except a
yes,
souvenir is a memory note from
yes,
a place or time or circumstance. Yeah,
right. A visual reminder, like we were talking about.
yeah.
And so I don't know, I'm kind of going off on this thing of thinking because I am getting ready to make choices about what things I want to keep. And I think this will really help me be able to make those choices. It's not because there are things that are valuable to me, even though I'm not necessarily using them right now. But they're valuable because they are a reminder of part of my journey, part of my life. And I think that I just have this idea about putting things into a different form.
Yes.
Wow, brilliant.
And part of the choice is choosing which things are the best representative of the things that are important.
Yes,
I mean, I might have
yes.
50 things.
And
that
in which
are on the
format?
I'm sorry.
And in which format?
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting and exciting, and it really helps me. It kind of helps me have a better attitude about the process of going through all that stuff. And it also gives me more of a purpose for it than just getting rid of stuff, or whatever. I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting and kind of
It's
fun.
interesting. We can make notebook covers, customized notebook covers out of fabric, and we can have bookmarks of
Mhm.
course, and it can be a whole lot of fun with all these things. And as you said that, okay, quilts and all these things. But the question you have is, what do I want? And rephrase it by just using the different punctuation there. I was thinking about that, and it seems like this question can, for me, when I was trying to, because I am a visual person, so for me, that question was coming to my mind with pictures, and the image was that you are actually standing and facing your own self, and you are asking,
Mhm.
what do I want? So it's not a question you are asking from someone else, it is a question you are asking yourself to yourself that, oh, what do I want? Because when we become aware, we get this ability at some point, it happens that we can see ourselves, our
Yes.
own me as someone else, as an independent entity. And it
Yes.
then this ability to see our own journey, our own life, our own self as someone individual is a big deal. And when
Yes.
you
Amazing. It is amazing. That has never happened to me before. And it is one of the most incredible things that one of the
Ah,
really interesting changes for me is that ability to step back and see like
and
yeah.
someone else, it's really,
then the question appears that because you are looking at yourself and you are asking, what do I want? Okay, now what do I want? Because I can see myself as an individual person, and I can step back and step from that. And that was really amazing because if we see this question as you are asking yourself, okay, what do I want? It becomes so empowering for me.
Hmm.
it's really that is interesting. Very interesting.
It's a huge deal. Huge deal. Huge deal.
Okay, so here's a
Right?
thought that came to me though, and I just wrote it down. It doesn't totally fit in with everything else, and it's sort of I don't feel like I'm there yet, but I can see this is where I'm heading.
Mm.
Awareness of the presence of good precludes the need for a reminder.
Yes, 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 yes. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Please read that again with all the appropriate tone and mood and emphasis and profoundness. That was huge.
Awareness of the presence of good precludes the need for a reminder.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
really have to be reminded of something that's right in front of you.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Besides which, you know, when you're remembering, you're always connecting to a diluted
Right.
version of good.
That's true.
When you have access to the real thing every day, and it's always more, so it keeps adding, it keeps adding. Yeah. I never get it with people that's so it's all about the memories, it's all about the memories. When do you live?
Right, right. So I said I don't really need a reminder. I need awareness. Awareness. If you have awareness, you don't really need reminder.
Correct, and connectedness
Right,
with this awareness. If you, the more aware you are, the more connected you are. So.
right. Okay, I've got to fix that in there. But like I said, I don't feel like I'm quite there yet. I'm not ready to just throw out every single thing there is in the world and just rely on whatever. But I can see that. I see that it totally makes sense to me, and it is something I certainly am working towards. And just the awareness of it is kind of big for me. But,
That's huge.
and I saw, it's so funny, you know, how things show up when you start thinking about things. I'm trying to find it. There was a post somebody made. If I can find it. I think I'm going the wrong way. I was going to post, this is, well, now I'm definitely going the wrong way. Hang on. Getting closer. Oh, here it is. Okay. It says, look around. All that clutter used to be money. Wow. Okay. And I mean, that totally relates to the idea of clutter being choices, because you chose to trade your money for whatever that is that now is considered clutter.
Yep.
So that, again, that comes back to valuing. I mean, in the past, I valued this enough to trade money for that thing. So I can see how it's super important to know clearly what I value, and then I can make choices based on what I value.
Right. Also, clutter equals what was I thinking? Right?
Sometimes it does. You're right.
Well, clutter's awareness, awareness of motivation, awareness of importance, awareness of changing taste and style and all that. Awareness of change, right?
Right.
Which is good. It's not a negative.
No, it's not. It's not.
Change. We change.
And it's okay. It's okay to change. It's great to change.
Yep.
That's what we should be doing.
Exactly.
Okay, so then I wrote, what do I want equals what is important to me. What do I want is kind of like my why. Being aware of my why changes my how. Knowing my why or changing my why changes, adjusts, and improves my how. Also, my what, my when, my where, and my with whom. Really being clear about your intent changes the way it changes everything in your life. I wrote understanding and awareness guide and change my application. My being guides my doing.
Mhm.
Oh, 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 oh. Wow. Wow.
When you will put down this plate.
Yeah, put down your plate, will you please?
Seriously,
It's lovely. It's very nice. Thank you.
I'm eating peanuts.
You're eating peanuts?
I know I take them
wow.
by hand.
You have the really the most unusual way.
It worked really well.
Well, there you go. If it works for you, then it works for me.
These peanuts are very lightly salted. If I
Oh,
pick
yeah.
them up by hand, the salt goes away, comes off them.
It's true.
So I put them on the plate and then just kind of drink them.
Put 'em right-
Keeps the salt. And I added a bit of salt too, you see.
Drink
Mm,
peanuts. Okay.
I'm not going to say.
Just efficient. Just efficient, that's all.
I'm not.
Okay, you're
I have a little bowl, but the little bowl has got stuff in it. So that's why I use the plate now.
Come here.
this is interesting. When Kay mentioned about the money. Yes, people say that if you start thinking about your clutter as and start calculating that how much money you have spent, or just consider that it was money. Again, I was also like that, but it was kind of a negative association because it puts a pressure on me and the stress that I
Right.
have a lot of money and wasted, and now I'm wasting my money. So that thing is going to again put me into that regret kind of
Right. Okay,
stress.
Yeah.
but here's
Yeah.
where taking the clutter and putting it into a different form
Yes.
could very well result in turning it back into money.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But
Very
just
cool.
annoying me is that instead of
Yeah.
if I say, for me it is to just say that these were my choices,
Right.
because
Yeah.
whenever I say that, oh, these were this was the money, and yes, of course, and I
Yeah.
wasted that money, yes, it is a kind of a regret thing and a negative association. But if I say that, yes, these are my choices and why I made those choices. And
Right.
by Kay, you actually triggered my mind, and I wrote a verbal selfie after you shared about the clutter in your house, and you said that it's a kind of overwhelming. And I wrote
Mhm.
that verbal selfie at that time. And at that time, it was a different perspective I had about the clutter. This thing recently come into that these choices, and I was again reorganizing my room, and
Right.
I was looking at things, and I said, no, these were my choices. And okay, why I made, then I go into the process that okay, why I made this choice, in which state of mind I was, and everything. So it was a very deep, profound process for me. But you actually triggered a verbal selfie, and I wrote at the time, and now I'm reading. I will share with you.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant. All right. So, by the way, before Irina reads a thing, so I don't forget, is next time you go shopping, not for food now, for anything other than food, and before you buy it, you say, "How long is this? Can I have this before it's clutter?"
Right. Is this
Yeah.
future clutter or is this something useful?
Yeah, yeah. Or how long until
Maybe my childhood healing, it was a kind of a process. It was maybe
yeah,
a tap on my shoulder that okay, Beena, you are empowered, you can do this.
Right.
It is a very profound concept
Yeah.
if we just shift it
It is.
towards
It is.
choice, and then you suddenly get out of the guilt. Oh yes, I did that, and how much I was happy in those moments when I was buying this.
Right.
Okay, I got this. Okay, now I don't feel that happiness anymore with this. It's a different deal. But at that time, I got value. It was
Right.
not a clutter.
yep, exactly. And
And
you
then
change,
exactly, and
But
I just
I think
love
you're
that.
really right. We need to be really aware of not letting guilt or bad feelings
Exactly.
about making bad choices. And because I mean, I have been learning that
That was then. This is this is now. I change, I grow.
I have been learning that. I
Yeah.
first learned that through, some bigger choices in life than just things that ended up clutter. But, the whole thing, with
Yes, I
Phil,
don't think I, I don't think Phil is going to be too amused to be called Clutter.
well, you know, what to say,
If the shoe fits, Phil, if the shoe fits.
what can you say? But really, I mean, that was so huge for me to think of inappropriate application of goodness, and looking back at choices that I could say were poor choices, but looking at them, first of all, to see, what was I thinking at that time? What did I get out of that? What was the positive to me? And what was it that I was looking for? What did I mean, if I didn't get it from that particular situation, what was I looking for? And what does it say about me? And how, even if it's an inappropriate application of goodness, it's still goodness. And so even if I bought something stupid
Exactly.
that I don't need anymore, I don't need to feel bad about that. I mean, it might have been an inappropriate.
It
Exactly.
was inappropriate from a point of view maybe now, but it wasn't then necessarily.
No, and that was still, if I can ever, so far in my life, if I can ever feel good about myself, when I actually resolve this thing for myself, when I say that this clutter is not a clutter, these are my choices, these were my choices.
Right.
And that the whole mindset shift I got when I did that,
Yeah.
because I have a positive association, and I'm actually available for myself. I'm not just falling into that guilt loop all the time that,
Right.
oh, I did that, I was, and now I'm owning it. Now I'm acknowledging it. And now I'm learning from this instead of just throwing it away and going back into that same buying and getting loop thing.
Exactly.
No, I'm not throwing these things just for the sake of throwing, just to get rid of my guilt. I'm just using those things as a reminder. And this is a whole shift because I never get anything in this thing. I can say that I never see, never read, never heard this concept before about clutter from
Right.
any, never. And I was struggling with that, and still asked me since a few months back. He asked me why you are doing again this spring cleaning again, and I was like, yeah. And he says, but I'm wondering, Beena, how it comes in first place, like why you buy things, like guilty of. And really I am. And this shift, that whatever is I have right now in my life, these were my choices. And then
Right.
when I say that these are my choices, I get all the value I was getting at that moment when I was buying that. It is so huge for me. This was so huge for me.
Huge. It is really huge.
Time you shared, Kay, I didn't have this perspective on clutter. And I wrote a verbal selfie. You will laugh on that because I tried to put in some humor into that, and I said, okay, this is what I was doing. And
Right.
reminded me because I mentioned souvenirs into all that. But now, now I have a different, totally different perspective about things around me. No more clutter in my life. I don't have any clutter, no emotion, no psychological,
Right.
and no physical.
Right.
I don't have clutter. These are all my choices. And I was getting value. Okay, it was not a good deal because I got some value, but the trade off was not okay, good. Okay, no problem. But that was appropriate in that moment. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. Isn't that, I know, it's giant. And I think when we can get rid of that feeling of guilt about things like that, it just, I mean, that's interesting. That was that definition of purge was what part
Exactly.
of the definition was be free of guilt.
Exactly.
And, and you're saying the exact same thing that I have been feeling is I don't want to get in and just start throwing things away just to throw things away. I want to understand what I
Exactly. Exactly.
understand the abstract of it, and really, and I mean, I haven't even started yet, but already that perspective shift on it takes away that overwhelm, and it takes away
Yeah.
the just any of the bad feelings about it, and it really, I can see it as a joyous project. I mean,
Yes, yes. And
yeah.
sometimes overwhelm is not actually overwhelmed, but doubt that we're doing the right thing.
Right.
Caution of a,
Yes.
of a sense.
Right.
Oh, that is so huge. This is so huge. Without mentioning your name, I mentioned you here in this, that one of our program participants just said that how all these things are becoming overwhelming for her.
Right.
And you actually triggered that. And that was something really, really amazing for me. But now when I look at it, I said, no, even that was not something really a resolution for that. Now I can say that when I shifted to this, that okay, these are my choices and these were my choices. Now it is something completely. But that was really interesting what you said, and I wrote that verbal selfie about this.
Cool. I
We were
love
in
it.
this.
Yes, and the thing is, and this is something that Erica and I were talking about last night. She said that she got this from your discussion with her yesterday, I guess. Um,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
and she, it kind of helped her understand that she always had this idea that when you make a choice or a decision, that it's like forever, and you have this
Yeah.
commitment to stay with that choice forever. And so when she would buy something, it was like, to her, it was like a commitment to that
Hmm.
thing, that she had chosen it and she was going to keep it forever. And that seeing that differently, and knowing that just that choices change as you get new information, and that's good, and it should happen, um, is kind of freeing her from the idea that she has to hold on to everything because she chose it,
Hmm.
Wow.
and I
Hmm.
thought, and I think it's really important to understand that we do change, and what we value might change, and
Yeah.
um, and then our choices reflect the changes in our thinking and in our perspective
Our
and
beliefs.
our beliefs, and whatever, and that's good, and that's, I guess,
Oh, it's huge. Yes.
that's
Otherwise, you're just stuck.
right. So I think that's why I'm kind of interested in the idea of choosing things that are a representation of the journey of my change.
Oh,
um,
that's beautiful.
Ye-
Things
Yes.
that are representative of my journey. Yes, Kay. Yes, yes, yes.
I think that sounds fun. That sounds really cool. And you don't have to have every single thing, but you can have just the ones that really, and I mean, what a cool thing. Think about your
Yeah.
journey. Think about the changes that have happened to you over the years. And what is the best representation of that? And in order to understand the best representation, you have to understand you have to really understand what happened.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? What did you learn? What was going on? And then choose the best representation of that. And that's a lot of good thinking, I think.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So I don't know,
But
interesting. I haven't started it yet, but I feel like I'm getting close. I feel like I'm getting
Mm.
close on my whole thing.
Be aware that don't fall into that trap, right?
sorry, please for me.
Okay, I'm writing it.
Say again, Beena.
Please repeat this for me again, please.
So we can get into a getting started trap if you put off something for a long time and you haven't done what you know you should have done. And
Yeah.
now you don't want to actually do it because the moment you do it, it's an acknowledgement that you should have done it a long time ago. It's
Oh,
proof positive, right? It's a confirmation that you were wrong in not doing it. But if you're not doing it, it's still open. It's still debatable. What maybe it should be done, maybe it shouldn't. So some people just debate this forever because they don't want to conclusively prove that they should have done it a long time ago.
wow. Wow.
I can see that. I can see that. I think I'm pretty sure I should have done this, but
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
and that's a good point to not get caught in a trap of feeling guilty that you didn't do this long.
Exactly, exactly.
And I think I'm feeling better about that because realizing that I don't even want to start right now because I want to really understand what I am doing before I get started. I don't
Exactly,
throw things out,
exactly, exactly,
And so
exactly. And you, yeah,
I wasn't ready to do it yet.
exactly.
So
It was appropriate you not doing it all this time. It was absolutely appropriate. Look how much magic has come from it. It's brilliant.
right, right. So anyway,
And
interesting.
there's no real need to do it, was there?
No,
There you go. There you
no.
go. So what if you don't do it?
It's
Right?
funny. I have really gotten into that whole thing. I mean, I think I didn't realize how often I feel guilty about not doing something or whatever. And
Yeah. Why?
yeah. And I'm like, well, it's okay. It's cool, whatever.
I mean, really, ask yourself, why do you feel guilty? Is there actually a real legitimate reason? No. All right. So yeah, I gotta read Beena's selfie. Scroll down a bit, Beena. I can't see. Where are you?
Sorry.
You're not to the top.
Okay, yeah, go back.
Okay. Do
Okay.
you want me to read it? You want to read it? Who wants to read it?
Please do read it. Thanks.
All right. All right. Verbal selfie, practicing self-expression. Dear Beena, why is being organized, clean, and mindful about stuff in our room, house, office necessary for our own well-being? This was the question which came into my mind when one of the participants of our program, Way of Impeccability, shared her concerns about stuff inside her home and how it's kind of becoming overwhelming for her. Almost all of us wants to be in a tidy, neat, clean environment. But why is it so important to do that spring cleaning? And why is organizing stuff so crucial to us? Let's start with a few basics. With the very basics.
Okay.
Hygiene, yes, important to stay healthy. Two, comfort. Yes, it's easy to deal with clean, organized stuff. Three, time efficient. Yes, it saves time also. Four, social pressure. Yes, it increases our chances to be liked by others and to find a boyfriend.
Oh,
And
okay. Who does interpret?
just being naughty a little bit. Sorry, I couldn't resist. And there must be more than these. Oh, yes. Tons of YouTube videos are available about how organized surroundings assist us to be more productive. Yes, but why does my shopping for souvenirs from my local Sunday market restrain my productivity? Do these China-made Indian have the ability to keep me puzzled? Do they add?
To think positively. How? For me, when I was buying these cute little souvenirs from the Sunday market, I was actually trying to fulfill my desire to travel around the world. When I was purchasing China made Indian handcrafts, I was reinforcing all the excuses and misbeliefs I have adopted from others about myself and my ability to make appropriate decisions. Ouch. Some of my six identical silk shirts, same with my six identical silk shirts. My attempts to feel empowered, or do you remember, or do I have to remind you, those six shirts were your desperation, your neediness for validation, etc., etc. This is how our subconscious mind makes inappropriate associations with things, people, or ideas, because subconsciously we're aware of all those false associations. We feel drained, stuck, tangled, confused, sad, unmotivated, and so on. That's the main reason and idea behind the idea of organizing your surroundings and making yourself better. Thoughts and emotions connected to things, people, and situations outside of our awareness exist in our subconscious mind and continuously influence our responses and reactions, behaviors, overall mood, and personality. When we see things around us scattered, not organized, useless, meaningless, not needed, ugly looking, or just neglected, we don't feel those things. We feel our own addiction, helplessness, embarrassment, guilt, unfulfilled desires, and above all, we feel not being happy. How can anyone be happy when his or her surroundings are filled with negative stimulations for the subconscious mind? The immediate first response is, I need change. We all need change, but exactly what do we want to change? Things around us are mostly, I don't understand that. Things around us mostly. The first step helps. We feel good for some time, but again, the same cycle will begin, and soon the same frustrations will come back again. Things, people, and situations are just the physical representations of beliefs we have adopted and sometimes have created for ourselves. Decluttering helps exactly like we trim leaves. It looks good, it feels good, but for real change, we need real change from the very core of the issue. That's basically what I've been trying to say. We need to address
Yeah.
and acknowledge those beliefs and perspectives we have developed over time. We need to reestablish those negative associations with new, deliberate, appropriate associations. And I think that's what you're talking about, Beena, about associating those things with your choices.
Exactly.
Then we can really have the change we always looked for. The vicious cycle of losing self-control and buying stuff without really needing any of it, and after some time tossing on upper hard to reach shelves or shoving it in the back cabinets is the same cry for help. I need change makes our self-trust weaker and corrupts our ability to think clearly, not particularly things that we have around. We only cry for a change when we can have more than one change of perspective. Shifts of perspective can and do lead to multi-layered, deep, profound changes in our thought processes, changes in our ability to adapt, changes in mood, changes in behavior, which means change of life. Yours truly, be safe. I think that is awesome.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. What was
And
that last sentence there with the perspective shift? If you could read it again, please, Kay.
Oh, I need change makes our self-trust weaker and corrupts our ability to think clearly. Stop. Right.
Will you read it again, please, in isolation? Changes of perspective.
Shift upwards.
Shifts of perspective
Shift.
can and do lead to multi-layered, deep, profound changes in our thought processes.
All
Changes
right. So
in
keep
our
going, keep
ability,
going, keep going. What you
changes
were
in,
saying about, oh, no, 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 I'm not on the reading, but where we were on your notes and then your repeat backs and feedbacks of everything you were talking about.
well, I
I'm going to
can't,
tie it up with this a little later.
is there a way for me to see my page and this page
Oh,
at the
sure.
same
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Just kick Beena off screen sharing.
Okay, I
time?
did.
Oh, okay, there we go. Um, um, well, I guess for me, understanding what I value changes what I say there. Knowing my why changes, adjusts, and improves my how, my what, my where, my when, my how. Understanding and awareness guide my change my application. My being guides my doing. Who I am or what I value determines what I do. And not only what, but how, where, when, and with whom.
Wow.
I know.
Keep
I
going.
like that. I mean, sometimes things just kind of come out of your mouth and you're like, oh, I like that.
Read it again. Read it again, please. Read it again. I hear you. I know it happens to me all the time. I love it. It's like, well, where did that come from? Well, where to go? So well done.
Well, there's a
Yeah.
lot. And I mean, it's all kind of
Yeah.
trying to come down to something. What do you want? That question is my why. Being
Yeah.
aware of my why changes my how. That, to me, that's really big. I mean, that's like how to make choices. Understanding what you value determines how you do things, how you live, how you, and it also determines where you live, who you live with, what you're doing, what you're, I mean, all of the question words, who, what, when, where, why, and how,
Mm.
why determines all the others.
Wow.
Hmm. Will you please just explain it a bit more about this?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about it myself. I'm thinking about it out loud. But I like the idea. My being
Yes.
guides my doing. My doing
Yes, not the other way around. Dang it.
my doing follows my being. And so when I understand,
Yes.
when I understand my why, or I understand my intent, or I understand my value, what do I value? Then that determines what I do, what choices I make,
Yeah.
where I am, what I do, who I do it with, all of that. And so I thought, okay, well, then I need to ask myself the question, what do I value? And
Yeah.
so that's a big, it's a big thing. Because we think we know what we value, but when
Yes.
writing it down, it's like, ugh,
And when you actually start to want to act on it, it really comes clear to you how much you value. In
exactly
other words, when you've got to start making the effort reward trade-off,
right.
say, oh, I value that. Oh, it's very yes. Yeah. When we evaluate how much effort is involved, value soon becomes
Is
apparent.
it really
Real value soon becomes apparent.
right? Okay, so what do I value? I just started doing this really right before we got on, which is why I still have on my pajamas and whatever.
That's brilliant. I love it. I love
Okay, but that tells me something about myself.
it. Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
know that because that is what I did. I didn't just
Yeah.
say it. I
Yeah.
actually did it. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And I'm hoping my face didn't show how much I care. I mean,
yeah.
about you being dressed and appearance and all that.
Oh, okay. You didn't go, oh my God. Yeah, there you go.
Couldn't be
Okay.
bothered.
So what do I value? I said, first of all, obviously there are values that are important to me, things that we normally consider values, like honesty, uh, integrity, courage, compassion, responsibility, trustworthiness, those kind of things. And I haven't gone through and listed, those things particularly, just a very
Yeah.
brief.
Yeah. Well, you have a list of them already.
Yes, I do actually.
Right. Right. It's a
But
dictionary of power, right?
yes. Which I've been thinking about that too, and I need to go back to my dictionary of power and really work on it.
I have an exercise for you on the dictionary of power. Keep going. Okay, yeah. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Yeah.
Okay. And interestingly, when I was teaching back in the day, of course, the more recent time, we were not allowed to do this because, this was not important. But back in the day, we used to have a school-wide thing where we would all talk about, different values. And that was a real focus in the school. And one time, they did it. I mean, it wasn't the perfect way to do it. And obviously, hopefully, individual classrooms were talking about these things and learning about them all the time. But we would have like an emphasis every month. We would pick out, there would be a certain value that the whole school would be thinking about. And we had these little assemblies, I guess, where the whole school would come together, and once a month, a different, I guess, grade level maybe, would do some kind of presentation to talk about that particular value for the month. And so this was when I first started, and I was teaching kindergarten, and the value that we were assigned to present was integrity. Now, think about trying to explain the term integrity to 5-year-olds. It seemed, kind of big, but it was really good for me because I had to really think it through and really, get a pretty good understanding. And basically, I mean, what it came down to for me, integrity, and it turns out really all the values that we were talking about came down to choosing to do what is right, even when it is not what you want to do, or when no one else is looking.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And so, that was kind of easy to talk to 5-year-olds about. They understood that perfectly.
Interesting. Yeah.
So anyway, I wrote in here obedience, the difference between obedience and integrity. Obedience is choosing good out of fear of punishment, usually, and is usually externally motivated. Integrity is choosing good because of what you value and is
yes.
Anyway,
because you choose good,
right? Which
not because you have to, but because you want to, because good is important to you.
Which that can set you off on a whole huge conversation. And the whole idea of the purpose of human experience is to learn to choose good, and to choose it because you value it, not because somebody is making you do it or because you are afraid of punishment. But anyway, so those are kind of traditional values, things that I value. But then there are more things that I value. There are attitudes and perspectives that I value, like curiosity, humility, open-mindedness, love of learning. These are just the ones I've thought of so far. Inclusivity, confidence, joy, humor, creativity, cheerfulness or realistic positivity, sobriety, determination, so those kind of things are also.
That's fantastic. Add that whole list to your dictionary of power, please.
Yes, I know. And then I had gotten down to another category, which is kind of experiences and environments that I value. And I haven't made a list of that yet, but I just got started on that. So I think it's really a good exercise to go through and really, really think about and list what things I really value, which answers the question.
Yes.
Yes. What do you want?
Yes. That list is your dictionary of power. It's not a separate list. It's the same list. All those entries go into dictionary of power. Your dictionary of power is what you value, what is important to you, what makes a difference to you, and what you can use, especially. Yeah, it's a dictionary of power. Yes. Knowing what you value gives you power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have to write this. I guess I could be writing. I started writing on a paper because I didn't have my,
take your time. No worries. Take your time.
Value gives you power. Um, that's just, I mean, wow, that's like it's a wow to
Yeah.
me. And
Yep. 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 Yep.
knowing what you value.
Gives you power. Knowing what's important to you, not just what you value, but what's
Right.
important to you and what's meaningful to you as well. What's significant to you? What gives you purpose? All of those add power to you. So it's not just value, right?
Right.
It's importance, meaning, purpose, significance, yeah,
Yes.
and what gives you joy as well.
Yes.
Don't forget,
Well, exactly.
might not be particularly meaningful, but it gives you joy,
Right. But it is meaningful.
and because it gives you because it gives you joy, it's meaningful, right?
And
If somebody says, "Well, I like raking leaves," it's not particularly meaningful, but it gives you joy. Oh, then it is meaningful. There you go.
exactly. Well, I think that's where this whole thing of experiences and environments might fall into that category because,
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds silly in some ways, but like sitting in this room, which is a sunny kitchen, that is valuable to me.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And when we learn to treasure the little things, they
Yes.
become sublime.
So yeah, but I think it's a great exercise to go through and really think about it. And I think it's so cool and interesting and funny and awesome that the universe just keeps pounding this into me that you need to sit down and really think about this. What is valuable to you? What is important to you?
What
And
do I want?
what
What
do I
do I want?
what do I want? You know?
I want what's valuable to me. Yeah. Yeah.
What is valuable to you?
Ah.
And so, and the other part of this that I think is very cool for me is, I said the other day that one of the things I want is a happy, fun family. I would love to have an awesome mate and grandchildren. But the thing is, all these things that I value are something that I would value in other people, but to really have them, I have to make sure I have them in myself. And
Yes.
when you're not looking out there for, those things. I mean, you might be looking out there for those things in order to make a choice of who you're going to spend your time with. But the real choice is having it in yourself. And the real experiencing of those things that you value has to be in yourself. I have to be that person. I have to be the person who has humor and creativity and curiosity and all of those things that I value. I have to have them. And not only that, I do. I do have them.
Yes. Yes. I do.
I
Yes.
do have them.
You just
And
married the universe.
there you go. So
You said I do.
I do. You're right.
It's marrying your moreness, actually.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoops.
And to me, it seems to me what you really, 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 really value is your moreness.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the summation of the whole thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
God. Wow. It just triggers something again. This was in we were discussing, and Erica mentioned it quite many times that I shared with her that being a vessel, because it's a very profound terminology for me, that analogy for me, that to have something you have to be an appropriate vessel for that.
Right.
if if I can contain that moreness, then I have to have this moreness inside me. And this is what Donna and me, we were discussing about that, okay, but how to actually think about, because it was, there was a discussion about manifestation, that how people think about that, what I really want in my life, and especially when it comes to relationship, think you can, and me and Donna, we were laughing, and I said, Donna, I was thinking about that. And for me, it just all came down to be like first who I am. The first thing I have to do that. Whatever I want in my life, I have to be on that. And
Yes.
the thing is that I would prefer to think about as a energy compatibility instead of trying to match all these things of my desires, my criterias, this height, this length, and all blah blah blah. No, but because these things can be not blue eyes, brown eyes can work. Height, if not 6, okay, um, 5'8" or 5'10" can work.
Right.
If we don't have that energy compatibility, it can never work. So
So what do you think qualifies for energy compatibility? I mean,
yes,
what?
yes, because if I am for me again, it's not a very well formed term, but when we were discussing, it was about that spark, that energy we have inside us for moreness,
Mm,
for for love, for being.
right.
This is me. We were trying to encapsulate it in the energy compatibility. Like if I have this moreness, I want that person to be in that moreness too. Otherwise, it will be complete out of balance. It cannot happen actually. Not only out of balance, it cannot happen because how much I can mold myself into a specific criteria which I'm not. I can try to fit in, but sorry, it will not happen. And it
No,
will be a pressure, stress for other person also.
right.
Because he might be, or on the other hand, if he has so much moreness and I'm nothing in front of him,
Right.
I would feel lost. Like, oh, really? What's going on there? I'm not there yet. I don't want to just continuously chase. So this is what energy compatibility is. That we both have more or less same kind of thing. So we can learn together. We can be more together.
Right.
So that was the energy compatibility we were discussing. And Donna said, yes, Beena, because the examples were same, like, okay, blue eyes can work, green eyes might also work, or brown or black work.
I know. Who cares about that?
Exactly. Exactly.
Through to the end, these things are actually nothing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
These are actually nothing. And
Yes.
this is what we
Yeah.
do. That's how we actually create that so-called clutter in our life, because we feel so tempted towards few things like, oh, that was fun, this is fun, this is good looking, and this is how things come up. And after just 2-3 days or maybe a few times, and sometimes we say that, oh no, it's not working, it's not for me, because I outgrow all these things. I don't like these things anymore, I don't need these things. But people are not like this. Companionship are not like this. We cannot discard people. We
Right.
cannot put them in the upper hard to reach cabinet.
Right. Exactly.
We have to,
How do you know for energy compatibility? If the person with you adds to your energy and you add to theirs and neither drain each other.
Oh,
yes,
that's yeah.
yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And again, I have to say thank you, especially for this, because you were writing down my journey. I was so reluctant. Still, I have a bit of hesitation to write down things, but I realized writing down this clutter verbal selfie actually helps me to think about it more.
Yes.
Now
Yeah.
I have more clarity. I have more, and now I can continue that verbal selfie more and more, and I can talk about clutter being my choices,
Right.
and then it's a totally different perspective shift in that. But how it happened? If I was just thinking in my head,
Right.
these would be lost. So thank you so much, Sil, for continuously pushing me to
Yes.
write
Oh,
to write it down.
it's-
True. I mean, writing does. It is amazing. And I don't. I'm not 100% sure why, but I know there are. I know there are actually studies that prove that that is true. But I also just know that from myself that for whatever reason, when you write it, it
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
does something different in your brain.
yeah, yeah. I got 3 big things here.
Okay.
One, this question Um, what was the big question that you kept hearing?
What do I want?
What do I want?
No, the
What do
question
you want?
is what do you want? Which but
Right.
I'm sort of shifting it.
Correct. You have to shift it. This question for me, if I look at all the the discussion we've had on this past couple of sessions now and before, if I zoom out and I encapsulate what it's really been about, it's really been about profound perspective shifting.
Yes, I agree.
You didn't just come at this in one thing. You had like last session, we were like, okay, and then there was some sort of resolution, and you came back and you're looking at it a different way today. And each time there's a different way. And this is the magic of perspective shifting,
Yeah.
right? That question, do we answer it just in one regular answer? You'd have stuck there and then no, it kept coming because there's more, there's more, there's more. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing. This question was all about perspective shifting
I
on
agree.
yourself, your life, what you want, asking questions, what do I have rather than what do I want, what's most important, what's important now, what's important in the future, etc., etc., etc. Right?
What was
And
important in
also being able to enjoy what you want, being able to really connect with it. It's no good getting what you want and you're not in a space to really utilize it. And you can get what you want in terms of your partner, and you can ask other people in the group that have gotten this, and they weren't able to interact with that partner. Well, it's a
Right.
great sadness to them, still a great sadness today, that they knew it even at the time, that they were just completely mismatched. They just couldn't hear them and say, what are you saying, what are you saying, what are you saying, stuff like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, we've got to be in the right space to be able to enjoy what we want when we get it.
Wow.
So there's
Wow.
stuff to do first. Yes,
Yeah.
perspective shifting, this is a huge deal, such a huge deal. Okay,
This,
two
this
other
thing
things.
like
Oh,
this.
oh, oh.
No, what you mentioned right now, this is the clarity of intent. It never actually occurred with this clarity in my mind before. Amazing.
Exactly.
The clarity of
Exactly. It's why the program starts with clarity of intent. It's not just a random thing. No, it is absolutely the biggest thing of everything to really have. Once you have clarity of intent, everything falls into place. You know what you're doing, it all falls into place. For instance, with this question, you think of it as like, oh, it's about clarity of intent and perspective shifting on my intent, so that I don't assume it's just one thing. There's
Right.
many intents involved. The whole thing changes. It suddenly all falls into place. Yes.
Yes.
wow.
Basically, what occurred to me and what I have been kind of saying this whole time is if I understand my intent, then all the choices happen as a result of that. The choices are good because they're aligned with my intent. And if they're not aligned with my intent, then I end up with a bunch of clutter. And if and it not just physical clutter, but all kinds of clutter. And
Exactly.
so understanding my intent or what I want or what is important to me or what is my why, that is the key thing that needs to happen before anything else happens. And it's not just saying, oh good, I need to understand that. You have to actually go in and do the work to figure out what is it that I value. And so this
Yeah.
is a task for me that I've barely started, but I just think it's super important.
I know what I want.
What do you want?
I would very, very much love it if you took all your notes on what do I want
Lie down.
and make a blog post out of it. And I'll post it on the nobelia.org's blog. And
Yeah.
when that goes to our mailing list, and we send it to Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook and everywhere, right? So it'll end up in being shared in the group also. But I want to post it on the blog as a blog post, as a guest post. What do I want? Guest post by K. Patrick.
Okay.
That's the title. What do I want? And go the whole story. You're hearing it, and all your notes that you've got, and from even before the brain, I think, because there were sessions before that. Go through, put it all together into one whole long story.
Okay.
I love
Yes.
that. Okay, then next thing, can we go to your dictionary of power real quick, please?
Yes, let's see. It's been so long since I looked at the dictionary of power. It's way down here. Let's find it.
Yeah.
Way back there. All right.
Yeah, you want to keep adding to it, by the way. All those things that you
I
put
know.
today, keep
And
adding, keep adding, keep adding.
haven't done it, so I need to. That's something
Okay. Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay. So if you take what's the first entry there in your dictionary of power?
Abstract.
Okay. Abstract. Abstract. Wow. Interesting. That's going to be a fun challenge for the exercise. So on that sheet of paper that you have, I mean, you can make the list. Just we want to do a quick couple of entries. I intend to. All right. So with abstract, I intend to what? I intend to connect to the abstract. I intend to perceive the abstract. I intend to think in the abstract. Yes.
Right.
Okay. What's the next one?
Anomaly.
Anomaly. I intend to notice or pay attention to anomalies.
Okay.
Right.
Right. Okay.
And next one.
Appreciation.
Oh, I intend to appreciate.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what
It's it on your list. I mean, write it down. Write it down. Keep going. Keep going.
You know what it says for appreciation? One of the entries for appreciation is acknowledgement of value.
There you go. Acknowledgement of profound value. Never mind just regular value.
The next
Yes.
is
Acknowledgement of.
appropriateness.
I intend to be appropriate. Yes.
Yes.
All right. So next one.
Application.
I intend to apply. Yeah. So okay, you see my point here. So keep going. So finish this. Take your dictionary of power and rewrite it as I intend to. So understand. We've got understanding is in your dictionary of power. I would assume, right? Understanding somewhere in dictionary of power.
Nope.
All right. So when you do, yeah, some of them are multiple. You could write it as I intend to understand or I intend understanding. Not
Ooh,
the same.
no.
They are not the same,
No,
right?
they're not.
If I intend to understand, that's for me to understand what's going on with you. But if I intend understanding itself, I intending it for you, me, for everybody. Yes.
Right.
So put where, if it's only the one, put one. If it's both, put both. There you go. So this is a profound exercise. All right. So let's take those first ones. What was the first one there?
Abstract.
The first I intend to.
I intend to connect to the abstract.
Okay. So now we want to take this intend to list. So the two tasks here, right?
Okay.
Make to transform your dictionary of power into an I intend to list, right? And this is going to very clearly reveal your, and only write it on your intent to list if you really intend to do it. I was just giving the format, right?
Yeah.
If you don't intend to connect to the abstract or think abstractly, whatever, then don't add it to your list. It's a mechanism for identifying value.
Right.
What's really, really important. You're going to intend it if it's not important to you, right?
Right.
All right. So since self-identity came up for Erica, the next list that you make is an I am list. All right. So I am appreciation, for instance.
Ooh.
I am abstract what? Yeah. I am abstract awareness. I am abstract love. I don't know, whatever.
Right.
Some of them are going to be difficult to put into I am format. But what were a couple of others there we had beside anomaly?
Appreciation.
Appropriateness.
Appropriateness.
Yeah. Right. I am appropriate or I am appropriateness.
Yeah.
You can decide how you want to write that, right? So you've got the, and again, only do it when it fits right, resonates, energy's there, everything.
Okay.
So you want to make the two lists, the I intend to list and the I am list.
Okay. Okay. Phew, it sounds like I've got a lot of homework.
Yes, you do. You do.
Okay.
But now that you don't have your clutter to take care of, at least not immediately, and that's not a pending project, you've got lots of free time.
There you go. Um, what a good reason. All right, let me.
Were you known for giving homework?
I did when I taught the bigger kids. I did give homework, but
Right.
the homework.
Well, they're getting their revenge now. So.
Their revenge. But my thought about homework is homework is independent practice, and
Correct. Correct.
it shouldn't be huge or overwhelming. It should just be practicing.
Yeah. And again, both of these, the post and the lists, they tie into what's going on. I mean, we could have done this anytime, this list, but they came today. The I intend and the I am. Those could have been done at any time, but they are pertinent and relevant right now.
Exactly. Okay, where did
because the one is an intent and the other is a list that you can claim, right? It's not that I intend. Let's say I intend to be patient. Can I say I am patient? Not quite yet. So the difference between the two lists, yeah, it's going to tell you I'm almost patient. Okay, it means I got to work on it a little bit, right? So it lets you know where you act in this list. Plus, if you're saying patience, it's on my list of important things, but I'm saying I'm not so patient, but I don't care. It lets you know how much you value patience.
Exactly. Okay. Now, one thing.
So there's a big deal in this, right? I mean, when we look at the two lists, we're going to do it at least for you now. It's in the context of value, because that was the focus for you. Everything is around value, at least for the whole program. It's always about value, not just value, but also usefulness.
Right.
Right. I can value something, but it's not particularly useful to me.
Right.
That's clutter.
Yes.
Right. So in the context of value and usefulness, make your lists and reveal yourself to yourself.
Okay. Reveal yourself to yourself. Okay.
Through this exercise, right?
Okay. All right. I see that.
Right. If you want to know somebody, don't ask them what their favorite nonsense is, because like we always make this joke about serial killers, yeah? They list the favorites and the serial killers could be the same. Somewhere one of them is going to have a similar list.
Right.
No, ask them what they value.
Wow.
So it's how you know somebody. Find out what's important to them, what they value. You're going to know them a hell of a lot better than what their favorite movie and color is. What does that tell you? Absolutely nothing. What they value. The serial killer don't value, I don't know, grace.
Right.
They don't value goodness. They don't value consideration, care, love, joy. I don't know. See? So it's important.
Okay. Now before
your list of intents too. Oh, please, share.
Before we go, no, I'm sharing. I'm asking. You said there were three really big important things, and I don't know. I'm not sure that we got them. I got
three things I wanted to share.
Yes.
That with you. The one is that the entire question of what do I want was about, for me, from my perspective, it was about perspective shifting. That was important thing number one. Important thing number two was making the blog post, the guest post. And then important thing number three was the two lists, the dictionary of power lists, the value and usefulness lists.
Okay.
The intent list and the I am list.
All right.
But you want to also, where your dictionary of powers, you want to combine, because they really go together. Three lists, actually, the three dictionary of, because the dictionary of power is the conception itself. And then it's the, from that list, you make the I intend and then the I am list. Yeah.
I gotta write this down. Conceptions. And that leads to the other two.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I had the first thing you said was, what do you want is about perspective shifting. The second thing I wrote down was clarity of intent.
Yes. The perspective shifting helped you to clarify your intent.
Okay.
That it's the tool that enabled you to get clarity of intent, because you didn't just look at it from one little narrow bubble.
Right.
You looked at it from multiple angles, multiple contexts. It changed everything. It changed everything.
Okay. Okay. I can't type a thing here. All right. I just wanted to make sure that I had all the things that you had.
Yeah. Oh, it's so marvelous. Really,
Okay.
really.
All right.
I love
I'll
it.
get
I
started
love
on
it.
it.
I love it. I
All right.
love it.
Thank you,
Ah,
guys.
so gorgeous. Fantastic, Kay. Fantastic. I love it. I can't wait for next time. I'm so keen for all this. This is so
Beautiful.
potent.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's
All right.
fantastic.
Well, thank you both. I love
Oh,
hearing.
pleasure. All right. Bye
So much
bye,
for
Kay. Bye bye, Kay. Bye
Go put my
bye.
clothes
Yeah. Well, keep in mind you're gonna go to bed soon then.
on. Yeah.
Bye bye.